Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's live webinar. I'm Dr. 𝗘𝘃𝗲𝐻, your host from Time Research and Innovation, 𝐒𝐡𝐚𝐡 Marketing Agency, and Neurodivergent Business Consortium. Today, we have a very special episode, and we have some special guests that we wanted to talk about disability confident scheme. And we are bringing Toucan Diversity to talk about their work. And you probably have joined my last webinar where I have Anna-Mary Asghari and Alex Foster to talk about Toucan Diversity and their work to the southeast of England as well as in the UK. So today we have a very special guest, and I just wanted to invite him to the stage. And he is Rob Trent. Hello, Rob. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. So thank you very much for joining today's webinar. And if you could introduce yourself to the audience, please.
Okay, thank you. Firstly, thank you for inviting me. My name's Rob Trent. In my spare time, I'm chair of Toucan Diversity, and I try and represent them as well as I can. I'm also an artist. I worked for 30 years full-time for Ordnance Survey in Southampton, and now I'm retired, and now I'm sort of devoting my time to things like Toucan Diversity and lots of painting as well.
Thank you, Rob. So our next guest, Anna-Mary Asghari. So you probably know Anna from my previous lives. So Anna, thank you very much for joining today's live webinar. How are you today?
Thank you, and thank you so much for inviting me. So I'm obviously the development director of Toucan, and I'm really chuffed to be here today. Thank you again.
Could you please a little bit give an introduction to the audience about Toucan Diversity and your involvement with that?
Well, of course. Yes, so I've been involved with Toucan Diversity from the word go. It is a disabled people-led organization, and it was set up by my daughter in 2013. So, yeah, and she called on me and basically I've been involved ever since. And since her passing, I have been involved more. So yes, it has been quite a journey for me and also for Toucan. And we have got the most amazing people involved in our organization.
Thank you very much, Anna-Mary. So I have our third guest, Alex Foster. So Alex, welcome to NVC's webinar. How are you today?
Thank you, Dr. Shah. It's great to be here. I'm very well, thank you.
Okay. Could you please give a little bit of introduction to the audience about you and your involvement with Toucan?
Of course. So my name's Alex, and I'm the operations manager at Toucan Diversity. I've been in this role for almost 2 years now. It's amazing how quickly time has gone. But before that, I also work as a freelance trainer for Toucan and also as a volunteer as well. And I have my lived experience of disability as a wheelchair user, so I bring that experience to the role as well.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to talking to all of you today. And you know that we're going to be asking different questions because people has many questions to ask about Toucan, about a disability confident scheme, and about all the things that you do. So I will start with Rob. And to the audience, I do apologize for Rob has to leave early today, but we will continue our conversation till 1 p.m. With Anna-Mary Asghari and as well as Alex Foster. So Rob, I'm fascinated to see the way you work. Okay, and we have a stereotyping that disabled people, they are rubbish. Okay, they cannot do anything. They are the burden of society. But comparing you and some of the disabled people in Toucan Diversity and myself as a disabled person, the way you are changing the society, the community, an able person can't do that the way you did. So my first question to you, could you start by telling us a bit about yourself, your background, as well as your connection with the Toucan Diversity?
Of course. Yeah, I'm really sorry I've got to go early, but hopefully if you want to invite me back, I will at any time. Yeah, I was born with a disability called arthrogryposis. It meant that I've got no real muscles in my arms and legs, and they're a bit deformed and twisted. But, I went to a special school because I'm of that age when there were no opportunities to go to a mainstream and get a mainstream education. I didn't do very well at the school. I left and then went to a residential college. I did a lot of time between school and when I got my first job. I didn't really study very well. I tended to want to enjoy life more than studying. But at some point, something clicked and I realized that I really should do something if I wanted to get a job, because I didn't really ever want to be, just dependent on other people. So I came up to Southampton, which is where I'm living now. I studied and I got my higher national diploma. I got a degree eventually in computing. I worked for Ordnance Survey for 32 years. I had a year before that at Southampton General. I just tried to do whatever it is I've wanted to do. And if I see something and I think, well, I'm not able to do that, then I try and think, how am I able to do that? And that's sort of my way of getting by in life. And I know it's not easy. It's not as easy for everybody else, and sometimes I think I've been lucky. Sometimes I think, thank you for people who've given me an opportunity. And all the way through my life, it's not just been me doing it. It's finding the right people as well who can help me.
I totally agree with you, Rob, because, the society is still not ready and we need to work towards it to make it happen. Maybe it will take another few years or maybe more than that. So thank you very much for your contribution to the community. And I know that you are contributing greatly to support disabled people across the UK. So I wanted to add our next guest, Anna Mary, to talk about today's subject. Like, we're going to be talking about disability confidentiality scheme. Anna, could you please describe why we wanted to talk about that? Why we need to know about this scheme?
So what do we mean by the Disability Competent Scheme? The Government Disability Competent Scheme aims to create a kind of change or a movement of change. So encouraging employers about disability and take action to improve how they recruit, retain, and take action to improve their environment. So being disability competent is a unique opportunity to become an inclusive employer. The scheme itself has got 3 levels. If you head over to the government's website, you have all sorts of information about it. So the first level is the disability competent committed. So I personally, it is all directed to getting people into employment, but I personally think it also can be really a great start for retailers, hospitality, to welcome disabled customers and visitors. So, with the committed scheme, you look at the things what you're actually already offering, what reasonable adjustments are in place, and what could you do, because the myth that reasonable adjustment costs a lot of money is nonsense. Lots of it is, most of them are actually free. It's just thinking differently. So, and then the next is a disability confident employer. So here you need to actually prove and provide evidence that you are employing disabled people. That particular level got some really bad reputation in 2022 because a survey was done of the people who signed up to the level 2 being disability confident employers only had 65% disabled people in employment. Personally, I think that's a good result because it is a journey. They may be just, still, getting their policies right, getting their recruitment processes in order to employ disabled people. But it was really quite a negative thought at the time, when it came out in the media. So, and then the third level is the disability, it's the leadership, which Toucan has been a leader since 2018. So we have been several times, we have been re-evaluated. We recently got re-accredited in October 24. And we have progressed through all these years as leaders, and we are in a position to validate other organizations to help and support them as such. So currently, there are around 19,000 organizations within the UK who are part of the scheme, and 384 are competent leaders. So there's a very small, it's only 2% who are leaders. And from that are only 80 organizations who are a disability competent leader, such as Toucan, because all the other ones are government ones, like the job centers, councils. I suppose they're pushed from the government to be an example of good employment, though that's not always the case, as we know. It's it's moving into the right direction. So that is just a general overview of the Disability Competence Scheme.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Anna, very much for giving us the overview of the Disability Competence Scheme. And we have Alex Foster as well. So I wanted to ask Alex for a continuation of this Disability Competence Scheme. Can you give us an overview of the overview of your work? How, as an operation manager of the Toucan Diversity, how you are tailoring your knowledge to the Toucan Diversity?
Sure. So thinking about what makes a disability confident employer, a lot of work goes into that process. And certainly it helps when we're doing things like validations. We often have to think back to how we operate in terms of how accessible are our processes for things like ways of working and communication between each of the team members. What are the ways in which we work that are accessible? One of the best things about working for Toucan is that we are largely remote. And so we eliminate the barriers that come up when it comes to commuting and travel, because often a lot of public transport is inaccessible to disabled people or has a lot of disabling barriers within it. Thinking about also my day-to-day role in terms of just accessibility and perhaps creating accessible content that we're putting out. So in terms of our social media management, I have to help manage the team of marketing volunteers. So we have to make sure that our processes there are accessible and that our meetings are accessible as well, but also that the content that we're creating is as accessible as it can be. And that has been a bit of a learning process over the last few years. And I think we've really come on leaps and bounds in terms of the considerations we're thinking about when we're doing things like creating a social media campaign, but also just even having a campaign to begin with. That's something that we've really worked very hard on. So hopefully that answers that question. But yeah, it definitely takes a lot of thought. It can't just be a tick box exercise.
That's a great explanation, Alex, because as a disabled person, you can feel and you can see the others people's pain. Okay, if you are not disabled, sometimes you don't feel that way. Because, in marketing or business development, we always, most of the time, we say that put you the shoes of other people to see what's wrong with you, because otherwise you cannot. So thank you very much for your contribution and everyone. So Rob, you will go early today. So I just wanted to ask you the next question. How did you become involved with Foot and Mouth Patient Association? Can you tell us a bit more about that? You are muted, Rob. That's fine. That's okay. Yes, that's fine.
All done? Okay, sorry. Yeah, art has always been an interest of mine. I mean, before I went to school, I had to wait a year to go to a special school, and I had a teacher that came to my house when I was about 5 or 6, and she taught me to write with a pen in my mouth, and then we took it from there really, and she taught me to paint. She helped me make Christmas cards and calendars, and I liked art, but I was never really drove my passion. And I got a job and I worked in computers, and that was the sort of thing that I was interested in. But then one day I got some cards through from the Mouth and Foot Painters Association, Mouth and Foot Painting Artists, and I remembered them, and this teacher had always mentioned them, and I thought, well, I could maybe make a contribution. So I wrote off to them. I sent them 5 pictures, and they said that I could be a member, and I became a student member in 1998, I think it was. And with the Mouth and Foot Painting Artists, they give you a contribution that you can help use towards your artistic development, buy materials, get some tutoring, that sort of thing. And so I did that, and I kept progressing, and I was only painting really in the evenings at weekends at that time, because I was working, and didn't have any extra time. And then in 2018 I became an associate member. They liked the work that I'd done, and I'd seen some of my cards in cards and calendars, some of my paintings as Christmas cards. And then I retired in 2018, and I really threw myself into working, and I've got this studio, which is where I'm talking from now. I had a studio built at the bottom of my garden, and I love it. And 2021 I became a full member of the association, and I just continue to paint every day, and it's something that I really love doing. They say get a job that you love doing and you'll never have to work a day in your life, and that's true. I've done my work in computing and working for Ordnance Survey, and now I'm doing some painting, and it's wonderful.
It's fascinating the way you transform yourselves, and the way you're transforming other people's lives now. And I just wanted to ask you a connecting questions, like what inspired you to take the role of chair at the Toucan Diversity? Because you were very happy working with your art and all other things. And after retired, what make you think, okay, I wanted to be a chair of Toucan Diversity and serve more?
Okay, I think go back to when I was working, and I knew I wanted to retire, and I was coming to the end of my career there, and I had a mentor at Ordnance Survey. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and he kind of steered me towards maybe doing some non-executive roles. So when I was at Ordnance Survey, I took on a couple of non-exec roles. So I became a governor at Trelawn's Special School and College in Alton, and then I became a trustee for disability rights in London, Disability Rights UK, and I enjoyed doing them. It was kind of a different world. And then I think I got to know Anne-Marie, and we spoke, and we talked about the possibility of me becoming chair, and it was just something, it felt a natural development for what I wanted to do. I agreed with their vision, and I agreed with what they're trying to do, and I thought that maybe my skills in full-time employment could help. And I can't speak for myself, but I hope they have, certainly.
So my questions to Anna-Marie now. How did you find out that Rob is the right person to be the chair of Toucan Diversity? How did you make it happen?
I mean, when we looked strategically, you know, after Madisa passed, we looked at Toucan and how to develop it, and we had, because it was just you know, during the pandemic, we also lost our current chair, and so yeah, I had Rob. I've been observing and following Rob for a while. And yeah, it was one of the really great decisions to get him on board, because he keeps us on track. He's a fantastic chair to our board, and yeah, and we couldn't be more prouder to have him as part of our team.
I totally agree with you, Anna Marie, because you know, when you go to specifically for a job, okay, what they see your knowledge, and then they see your disability. There's the two things they will see. If you're selected on knowledge and they see that you are severely disabled, they will do not want it to get that hassle. Like, okay, if I hire that person, we have to spend a lot of money. That's the one thing. Another thing is that that person might not work properly without being understanding they stereotype these things. So my next question to Anna Marie, you know, this disability confidence scheme, we wanted to talk about more. Why it is important to become part of this scheme?
Yeah, personally, I think it's hugely important for any organization to think about it, because you want to become I mean, it would be natural for any organization to become an inclusive. So if you become part of the scheme and sign up, it will definitely enhance your reputation and, you know, the social responsibility. You know, when your customers come into or your clients see that you are registered, because they may have members in their family who are disabled, it will give them, you know, a more they will trust your organization more, and possibly, you know, spend money with you or whatever. It really definitely makes sense. Also, from a compliance point of view, the legal requirements, because part of the scheme, you will have to offer training to your employees, especially disability equality training, and there you will get training on the Equality Act 2010. So, and that is really to combat, you know, potential discrimination lawsuits. So, and also in general, it will improve the retention of staff and the morale of staff, because if because there's so many employees who will not disclose that they are disabled. So, and if they see that now the strategic direction of the organization is that they are joining this scheme, they may feel much more comfortable to disclose their disability and also ask for support if they need it. And you know, so it is hugely, you know, important. It makes complete sense for organization to join the scheme.
Thank you, Anna Marie. So my to Rob, Alex, I was going to ask you questions. I just wanted to talk to Rob a few more minutes, as he's going to be leaving in 5 minutes. So, Rob, my next question to you. Toucan's mission is social inclusion for disabled people, by disabled people. What does this mean to you personally?
Okay, firstly, before I try and answer that, just to add to what Anne-Marie said, I think there's, you know, and it's a dirty word, but I also think there's a financial imperative that companies should, you know, try and become more inclusive, because their customer base then sees that this company is including disabled people in its designs, in its marketing. And so I think there's an argument for saying, well, your customer base will grow if you're employing disabled people, then disabled people and disabled customers will see that you're doing a good job there. So I think there is also a sort of commercial reason for doing it, which maybe helps organisations think about it a bit more seriously. To answer your other question about led by disabled people, for disabled by disabled people, I think it's really important in the same way that I've just said about organisations. You know, there are many charities that profess to represent disabled people that are made up of non-disabled people, and I think, you know, you tend to think, well, how do they know what their vision is? How do they know that it's right? How do they know that they're on the right track? Why are they not getting disabled people's lived experience on their board and amongst their staff? So, and I think Toucan is led by disabled people. We understand the issues of disability. We've all got, not all of us, but we've mostly got lived experience of disability. And I think we take that out into the disabled community. And that's something I'm really proud of that Toucan does and continues to do.
Thank you, Rob. It's been a pleasure talking to you today.
Thank you.
I just wanted to ask you another question, if you have another few minutes.
Okay.
Because I know you're going to be leaving, and I'm going to be asking questions to Anna Mary and as well as Alex when you leave. What potential do you see for Toucan's growth and impact in the coming years?
I think the potential is really great. I think we talked earlier about the growth of online methods such as online training, and I think there's huge potential there. Alex talked about us being, you know, we work remotely, so we're able to go out into any organization virtually. I think the team is growing and we're getting some real skills in the team. We work hard on our strategy, and I think the potential is great. And I think Toucan can have a really big impact in the disabled community and in the non-disabled community. We can make people more aware of our lived experience and what companies can do to make things better for their disabled employers, their potential disabled employers, and even their disabled customers.
Thank you, Rob. And we have another. Do you need to go to sharp 12:30, or you can spare another few minutes?
I can take one more question.
Okay, that's good. So the next question to you: why it is vital for Toucan remains led by disabled people?
Yeah, I think in a way I've hopefully tried to just sort of touch on that just now. I think it's important. I mean, you want credibility amongst disabled people for your organization. And I think if we were all non-disabled, then people would say, how do you know what's right? How do you know, why are you doing it this way? Why are you doing it that way? And people can still challenge what we're doing. But I think we've got the argument that we are, doing things based on our lived experience, and we're able to become more inclusive, get a wider range of disabled people representing Toucan, and spreading the word about Toucan and telling other people, other communities about our disabled training. And I think it really is important. I wouldn't want to be a part of an organization that wasn't inclusive and one that professed to be talking about disability and diversity and didn't have a significant proportion of employees as disabled.
Thank you very much, Rob. We will bring you more because I think you have real gold, and our viewers, they need to know how you are changing the world. And I think the more we talk about it, more disabled people like us will get benefited from there. Because, when people are disabled, they think, okay, they are good for nothing. And the different schemes, and as well as the other thing as, okay, if you're disabled, if you're terminally ill, then you have right to suicide and all other things. Yes, there are some conversation about it, but some of them we are against and some of them we are in favor. But collectively, we can change the world. Disabled people are not disabled, until they see themselves disabled. Okay, so we can change the world. So Rob, thank you very much for adding your value. We're going to be bringing you more, So
Thank you.
You can leave now.
Okay.
And wish you all the success.
And I'll just say thank you to Anne-Marie and Alex for coming along as well. And they're doing a great job, and Toucan are doing a really great job. So thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you. So my conversation is to Anna-Marie and as well as Alex. So we have another half an hour to talk about the disability confident scheme. Okay. So my next question is to Alex. Why it important? What type of training does Toucan currently offer under your umbrella?
That's a really great question, Dr. Shah. We've got all sorts of different training on offer. We've got our kind of flagship training, that's our disability equality training, which looks at the bias that's present in society against disabled people. We've also got specific training that's led by people with certain conditions. So we've got things like autism awareness training, visual impairment awareness training, deaf awareness training, invisible disability awareness training. And we can offer our training in lots of different formats as well. So apart from having it led by a disabled person, we can do that in person with your organisation, and we can do it online over Zoom as well. So we can do it remotely, but led by a trainer. But we also have the option to provide online training where the organisation can get its employees to log on and go through the training by themselves. So it's not led by an individual, it's sort of self-led online. And at the end, you'd get that CPD certificate, and CPD stands for Continuing Professional Development. And that's a really important part of our accredited training because it shows it has to meet a certain standard against the CPD scheme. And it means you're getting good quality training as well. So there's quite a wide range of training, and we've been working really hard on developing our online training in particular. And some of the newer courses we have on offer there include customer service training, assistive technology training, and we're working on an understanding autism course as well. So there's quite a wide range. So anyone that's interested in what we can offer, then please do get in touch with us, and I'm sure you can find our contact details via this webinar, or just head to Toucan Diversity on LinkedIn or any other platforms like Facebook or Instagram and Blue Sky as well.
Thank you, Alex. Because
No problem.
People, disabled people or non-disabled people, when we work with each other without proper training, you don't understand their feelings. Rob told us, like, okay, if there isn't any disabled people in your organization, how could you understand the pain? Okay, if you do not understand the pain, you cannot solve their problems. I totally agree with Rob. Because I faced enormous possibilities and difficulties when I went for interviews. As a neurodivergent person and disabled person, when they don't have a neurodivergent person in their team, they don't understand what we've been through, what is our strength, what is our weaknesses, and all other things. So thank you very much, Alex, for pointing this out to our audience. My next question to Anna-Marie, could you explain the validation process? What does it involve for organization?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as I mentioned earlier on, so we have got 3 levels. So, and any organization can just go over to the government side and just sign up for level 1, and then think, okay, we're doing already lots of things. And then once they've done it, they can go to level 2. But in order to proceed to the level 3, they will have to be validated. And that's quite a complex, well, not really, but you have to evidence everything. And it has got 5 core concepts. So the first one is all about inclusive and accessible recruitment. Here you would have to evidence what kind of recruitment policies you have, how you accommodate disabled, potential employees. And then how you communicate vacancies. So that would be your advert, if you're looking for specific people, and also if you're looking for neurodivergence, you would have to change your wording and be much more adaptable in general, because there are generic kind of job description, job specifications out there which are not suitable for certain people or would exclude them straight away. And then the third one would be offering an interview to every disabled person who has got the right qualifications. So that would be a must. And then the fourth one, so you would have to evidence every single bit what you're doing. And that could be extensive, and often you do much more than you actually think you're doing. So providing reasonable adjustments is the fourth core concept. So you need to look if you have got accessible toilets, have you got accessible, I mean, you have got automated doors. I mean, for those kind of changes in build, you couldn't get access to work to support you. And also different grants, especially if you're going specifically after, employing disabled people. And then also supporting, which is the main one, supporting existing employees. So those are the 5 concepts. But if you have got more than 250 employees, you are required, or it's called the voluntary reporting framework, where you as an organization would have to find ways of creating an inclusive kind of, sorry, my dog is going off at the moment here, like that. So so that the framework is basically for larger companies, where they would maybe through HR, they would do once a year a survey and finding out, if people have disability, they might be able to disclose it, if it's, if the name is not against it. I think if you are becoming if more and more people will actually disclose their disability in general, any organization, even if they don't know, they will have disabled people amongst them, because 83% of disabled people are non-visible, so or invisible, whatever you would call it. So yes, you definitely will have. They may not have disclosed it. So you need to create a working culture that people are comfortable, and if they need support, that they come to you for support. So that's really important. I mean, that so much can change in anybody's life, cancer, accidents, and then it comes down to the employer really to step up and support that person with flexible working hours. There's so many different things, and I mean, when my husband became terminal ill, he was straight away awarded. He was asked to medically retire, but he wanted to continue to work, and he had to fight that. So he managed to continue with work for another couple of years, and then he was medically retired. But they very quickly come with a redundancy package, and cart you off basically. But it comes down to the person, what they want. They may not want to be consistently, be confronted with maybe their new, situation. So I think HR is a huge drive forward, from any organization to ensure that, your existing employees are looked after properly and offered maybe part-time work, flexible working hours. There are lots of different things they can, work from home, maybe somebody on a standby, etc. So the validation process, once you have gone through that, then so it is a back and forwards, because we have done it now several times for organizations. So we will look at it, what they have done, and we think some of the evidence is not sufficient. and we suggest them maybe to have a disability policy and be more specific. Usually, disability is only mentioned in the D&I policy with a very small paragraph, if that. And yet we are the largest minority group. So we suggest that people have a specific disability policy if they're working in this field, if they're coming into the scheme. So that would be one of the things. And there you can also, and as a given, Toucan, for instance, in a recruitment process, we would give the question in advance to any person. So and not just, for a disabled person. So there are lots of things you can do. And we have a lot of toolkits which organizations can get from us. I mean, I would highly recommend that, scheme to get on board. Just start slowly. It is a journey, and nobody's expecting miracles overnight. Just, bit by bit and learn and, it's a disability equality training, which is part of the scheme. So, and that's why we are really keen on pushing the disability confidence scheme.
Thank you. Thank you for your detailed overview of the scheme, and thank you very much. When we talk about disability, we talk about different things, and we also see gaps. The government, they are prioritizing, like, okay, all disabled people, they have to start working, regardlessly seeing their current situation. Like, okay, are you comfortable to go to a workplace? Or even if you go to a workplace, I have seen with my experience and the people I talk to that employer, they don't value. Employer, they just don't have any bandwidth to get a disabled person hired. So a disabled person is suffering socially, as well as from other aspects. Like, okay, they stop benefits, they do this, they do that. And it's just like with mental health and all other things. So my question to Alex, as you working in Toucan Diversity very closely, how do you see this can be resolved, and how you are supporting people to resolve this kind of issues working with organization?
So I think one of the key things about the work that we do is obviously our flagship training. That's disability equality training. And what we do with that 4-hour session is really work to change people's perceptions of disability. And I think what I love about it is that if there are any disabled people in the room, usually when I talk about my lived experience, they can really resonate with that, and they feel like someone's actually speaking their language almost. And oftentimes we get really positive feedback at the end of sessions saying, oh, I actually feel like you understand what's going on with me. I'm having all these problems in my workplace. And now I feel more confident to speak up about them or to speak to somebody about this in HR. And obviously the key thing is getting a whole team involved in that training, not just the disabled people at that organization. It's also their colleagues and their managers or adjacent teams, or even, people from every level of the organization, because they're the ones that can actually input change into these organizations and start thinking more inclusively rather than seeing it as an afterthought. And that's what I really love about the fact that our training is also really bespoke as well. So we work specifically with organisations to identify where lots of these barriers for disabled people are occurring within their own workplaces. And we work with them to come up with solutions to these barriers. So things like reasonable adjustments. We will talk about how they can break down the barriers by providing things like Anne-Marie was mentioning, more flexible working, looking at whether you can do hybrid working, whether you can have more training for your team so that they understand things like neurodivergence a little bit more and how to communicate with people whose brains work a little bit differently, who process information differently, rather than excluding them from processes or berating them for getting things wrong, when actually it's not their fault. They just weren't communicated with in the right way. So it's really about getting people to step back and change their mindsets. And I think that's one of the really important things that comes out of working on this training with Toucan, and it's a real team effort as well,
Thank you.
which is really important.
Thank you, Alex. And you know that training can transform your lives. And everyone in the society, regardlessly they are at home, regardlessly they are working, when you have a specific tailored methodology to train people to understand a subject, that will give them the freedom to, get the sense in their brain, isn't it? Like, okay, I'm not a disabled person, but if I gone through with the training, how disabled person is feeling, how or what we need to know, and how you can tailor methodology to them, then I will think twice. Like, okay, I have that training, and I know that disabled person are like this. So I'm ready for that. My question to Anna Marie, as you know, sorry, excuse me. You have pointed about Toucan Diversity, all the trainings you do, and you have also added acceleration of the CPD. Can you tell us, the audience, about CPD accreditations and why it holds significance for training and development? Why you have added the certification here?
We were looking, when we looked at this, our strategy, we wanted to become that our training would be quality. And it would be substantial. So we looked at different schemes, and we then looked in. So we became first a CPD accredited training provider. So that's one element of it, and that's a huge element. They look at, in order to become accredited, they look at everything. They look at your policies, they come to your training and observe your training, how it is delivered. And then that is just one element. So the training, but once you have been accredited as a training, CPD accredited training provider, that stays for you. But then we have got, currently we have 13 training modules, 10 of whom which are CPD accredited. So every 3 years we go through an audit. So they want to see the author. I mean, it's huge. I mean, for every single training content module, they need to know the author, who has written it. They want to see the certificates, and a minimum for our trainer, which is requested by the CPD standard, is also that the trainers have a UK level 3 in education and training. So that is the minimum level in order to for us to use the accreditation which we get. So it's for every single module we have a specific certificate. So and then yeah, they are extensively. It's a huge process. And then on every 3 years, we have an audit going through all the modules, and that can take months. And we constantly have to send information through, because they also update. They are very much into accessibility now as well, which is new. Obviously, we are a disabled people-led organization. We are already all fully advanced in that, but still, we are learning too. And we often make mistakes. It is a journey, and it's so easily to make mistakes. But yeah, you can only just carry on working on it. So currently, and we are now, obviously, we are working on new courses constantly. So we have a team of people, and because we are rather small, and sometimes other things are prioritized, and so sometimes things don't happen as fast as we want it to happen, but it's a process, and we're improving, and we're getting through it. So yeah, the CPD is very important to us, and it will stay important to us. We want to extend it possibly to other things as well. So at the moment we are just a training provider, like events. We could, so we have open events specifically. I mean, I think it's a good badge to have. because lots of organizations, they require their employees to continue with their professional development, and our training will come under that. So we often have got people from the NHS when we have an open event. They come, like flocks of people who want to do the training. So because of the CPD, but also because of the disability equality element of it. So so that's why we think it's really important to have a CPD, training, accreditation.
Thank you, Anna Mary. Thank you very much. We are nearly end of our session. So I thank specifically all the audience, because today is the 1st of May, and you know that it's a Workers' Day. We are all worker. So my feelings to all the people around the world, they are working and taking today's day off. We are also working today because we are doing this live webinar. And thank you, everyone. So my next question to Alex, as you working for Toucan Diversity, what has been your most rewarding and proudest experience in your role so far?
Thanks, Dr. Shah. That's been a really difficult question to answer, because there's so many things that I think are really worth celebrating. And I think one of the proudest moments, or maybe most rewarding parts of the job at Toucan, is that I think, is doing training in ways that we haven't done before. So over the last year or two, we've done a lot of different training sessions that we haven't had experience of before, and a lot of different things as well, branching out beyond training. So looking at, like Anne-Marie said, the validation for disability confidence scheme, we've been doing more of that, and also looking at panel work as well. So having a pan-disability panel that acts as a place for advice for different organisations as well. I think that we've really grown in that way. So when I started out doing training, it was very much focused on employment, but we've moved into slightly different areas a little bit as well. We've looked at training that focuses in on customer service a little bit more with certain organisations, and also we're trying to move into schools as well, which is something that is really, really important, I think, because of course there are a lot of disabled children that have to go through different school environments, and they can face a lot of inaccessibility and discrimination there too. And I think the challenge of that, rising to meet that challenge, is definitely been really rewarding. And I think it's not just me, it's not just down to me, it's a really big team effort. And I think the team has come on leaps and bounds over the last 2 years, and it's down to all of our volunteers, right through to our board as well. So it's a real team effort, and I'm very proud of that, to be a part of that.
Thank you very much, Alex. And it's been a pleasure talking to you today, and Anna Marie as well. You are contributing and changing the future of disabled people. So in connecting questions, I wanted to ask Anna Marie, like, how do you feel now when you have a specific milestone completed? And I'm going to be asking you, do you have any specific asks to the audience, to the next one? But what is your feeling like working with disabled people and with disabled people, and specifically tailored methodology to get a result out? You probably struggle sometimes, and you probably win sometimes. So how does your what do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm super proud, because we do achieve a huge amount, because our infrastructure is really solid, and we have so many people, professional people who have lived experience, coming towards us and who want to help and who want to support us. We have recently recruited an amazing man who is deaf, but he has got experience in procurement. So we are hoping to branch out into procurement systems and look for opportunities there, for a different funding stream. But we also have got an amazing graphic designer who is also retired. He churns us out all sorts of amazing, beautiful graphics, for our toolkits, for lots of things. So, and then we have got this wonderful team of Portsmouth University students who are managed by Alex. It's mind-blowing and humbling, and also they learn so much from working with disabled people. And indeed, actually, in the majority of people who have been involved with us, as students, they stay with us or they always come back. We have got recently one of our volunteers who works for the Woodland Trust. She is a campaign manager for them. And she used to be a student at the University of Portsmouth, and she was a fundraiser for us and also director of ours. Young girl, very inspirational. She's going to swim the Bristol Channel for us next year. So, we are, it's a family, so a Toucan family, definitely. And people, it stays with them. Students from today, they will have jobs tomorrow. And they know about us, and we have organizations like Dyer and Butler. I'm sure they don't mind me mention them. And one of our volunteers moved. She's an HR person there, so we are talking to them about training. We have actually 2 people over there doing an upsell for us. So it is a continuous relationship, and I'm so proud of that. So proud. I couldn't be more prouder. It's not just for them just coming in and then they leave us and they have got this aftertaste, or I help there. They stay with us, maybe not that constantly, but they are there. And I love it when they come back knocking on the door and saying, or I'm sort of doing a swim for you, or, my company is looking for disability training, would you be interested? That kind of stuff. So, and that's how I see it, and also with the fundraising which we're doing, every donation we get, we'll find out about Toucan. And that's why I'm quite avid. I really think it is important for us because it gets our name out there in a different way. And so we have some of the people who have done the upsail or they've done skydive, they also feel comfortable with us. They want to come back and support us further. So, I think we need allies. We need people to support us, especially now more than ever. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity today to be with you, Dr. Shah. I really appreciate it. Because we really do need this more, because we are very much, retained down in Portsmouth, Southampton area and Chichester area. So we would like to grow. And I hope that, you, with your opportunity, being on live stream, will get more organizations involved with Toucan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anna Mary. And thank you very much. I just wanted to ask you the next questions, not questions. Do you have any special asks to the audience, Anna Mary, and as well as Alex, in 1 minute?
To the audience, please. I can't. I'm unhosted. I'm unmuted. Sorry, I thought for a moment I was muted. Please head over to the LinkedIn page, follow us, and sign up to our newsletter. Get in touch. There's a free no obligation consultation with us, and you will meet myself and Alex, and we can do a proper showcase you what Toucan does. We do loads of different things, so you'd be amazed. Please get in touch. Alex, do you want to say something?
Do you have any last asks to the audience?
Of course. I just think hopefully this has inspired you to look into disability equality training or any other type of disability training, to think differently about disabled people, think about the disabled people that you work with in your teams, think about your disabled customers or the people that you're providing a service to, and just generally think more widely about the barriers that disabled people face in society, and working with disabled-led organisations is key. So just thinking about the steps that you can take to become more inclusive and more accessible and involve disabled people in the work that you do.
Thank you, Alex. And thank you, Anna Marie,
No
for your
problem.
contribution today to our channel. It's just like contributing together to solve problems for the future. A special thanks to Rob and all of you there watching today's live webinar. As you know, we're going to be doing lots of marketing for these episodes on YouTube and all other social media. So if you think that you can contribute and join Toucan Diversity to support their great cause, I think you wouldn't find anyone else to contribute to, because disabled people, disability led by disabled. So it's just like thing is happening with Toucan Diversity. So my respect and gratitude, as well as support to Toucan. Thank you, Anna Marie, and thank you, Alex. And we will have some future live webinar as well, because we're going to be talking more about how we can support Toucan Diversity from Time Research and Innovation, as well as New Division Business Consortium. So we're going to be having more in the future to talk about specific problems and solve them. So until then, thank you very much. Stay tuned, and bye-bye.
Bye.